Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik and this is the game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, and today we will return back to our match against Dojo. This will be turn number 45. Means the activity of 5th and 6th March 1942. Okay, let's see. So far, I think the situation was more or less that I still bring in my Japanese army from the Philippines. The 14th and 16th Army is on the way to Java. And the 25th Army is crossing the mountains direction on Burma. And the last army, the smallest army of the Japanese army, are on the way to Sumatra, Oosthaven. At the end, Japan have 4 flexible armies unlocked. They can go everywhere where you like to go. And then you have a lot of the support units, Navy Guard units. But they are often only good for lightly defended bases, but not really to fight and force the enemy in a decisive battle. Okay, this is I think the ongoing stuff. I set up here a lot of Singapore. I mean, if you are the Japanese player, then for sure you must make sure that all of this sea area around Singapore, Palm Bank, later Batavia, up to Bangkok, Saigon, all this shallow water, you need to have active sub-hunter groups. Of course related to the activity of the allied player if we use a lot of submarines, but in this shallow water it is at least possible even early on for the Japanese to try to engage with the submarines. For deep water, I would say it is not really possible. You can maybe detect them. This is okay, but don't expect much more. But because the allied player know that most of the Japanese traffic will go to Palm Bank or Singapore, it's likely for him the allied player will set up the submarines near Singapore. And this is normally necessary to counter from the Japanese side. Here we have this American submarines with the Mark 14 with a very low hit chance, but we are in deep water, so 2 crippled units. Dojo with his crippled Mark 14 torpedoes cannot really make much damage, and my destroyers have still not the equipment necessary for fighting in deep water. I would say starting in April, but latest in May and June, the Japanese Navy have enough upgraded equipment that you can start to hope that you get some hits here in deep water area. But now it is really purely luck. And now we can see we're dropping a lot of ammunition. We're dropping all of our ammunition, but we score no hit. It's very, very lucky. And even if we hit here now something, the damage we create on the submarine is often so minor that it really doesn't matter. Okay, but here we can see already there are a lot of task forces going to Perth, and here's also one task force in the source. And I set up here some submarines because these are the main convoy routes, and at least we pick up here 1 cargo ship. And you can also see that the cargo fuel is burning So I suggest that this kind of cargo ships using fuel shipping to Perth. So it's possible to use the I don't know how you want to call it. You use dry cargo ships for normally transport liquid, and the efficiency will drop by 50%, but at least you can transport 50% of your cargo space for liquid. If it's really necessary, I really cannot tell. I, with the Japanese, never did this, and I think this is the only emergency stuff. If I don't know, maybe the allies are really lacking them tanker force. The Japanese, they have normally enough tankers. I really see no use to. I mean, the efficiency is so low. This is the problem. With the allies, of course, you can always keep in mind that it's more or less you have unlimited fuel, you have unlimited supplies. The Americans, they're producing so much equipment that it doesn't matter. But with the Japanese, you really cannot think this. Also, we get a sinking sound, so at least one cargo ship. I think this cargo ship will just now go down. And here is the next cargo ship, but this looks smaller. So the other one was maybe 11-point ship, and this looks more like a 6-point ship. But often one torpedo hit is enough. The Japanese torpedoes, they have more impact damage than the Allied torpedoes. Oh. Okay. Looks, this is now already the third cargo ship we're engaging today. And this time our captain also used his surface gun. And here again, fuel cargo is burning. So these are all these cargo ships, they transport fuel. And this is a very inefficient way to transport fuel, because you only can use 50% of your cargo space, but you still consume fuel because you must run your cargo ships. But of course, efficiency doesn't matter more in the moment if you have unlimited resources. So for the allies, yeah, it's have not a the efficiency is low, but if you have unlimited stuff, it doesn't matter more for you. You only count how much I can get to Australia or your islands. And what I mean before is with the Japanese, everything is limited. Everything for the Japanese industry is limited. So you cannot go this wasteful, inefficient way, or you will burn out, you will run out of fuel or some supplies. So normally the Japanese are running out of supplies roughly 3 or 6 months after start of the war, depending how aggressive you play. And the Japanese normally running out of fuel after, also depending how much you lose and how much wasteful you are, I would say 1.5 to maximum 2.5 years. If you cannot conquer enough oil in fuel production centers. This is why the Japanese, they need in the first 6 months taking Sumatra, Java, all of Borneo, and best also normally intact facilities in Burma. Okay, next cargo ship go down. So this is a successful day or turn for the Japanese submarine force. Not so much for Dojo submarines. I mean, come on, Dojo submarines are all, I don't know how you want to call them. They are maybe children playing around and try to scare the mighty Japanese warriors, but of course with no success. This was just an attempt of the scout plane to attack our ships, but fail. Often this on the walk or on go this Navy scout planes, they try to drop some bombs if they locate some force, but that you hit something is so small, the chance. Okay. But I mean, the Japanese was lucky with the submarine force, but this time the Chinese army was lucky to kill one of my light bombers. So, I mean, even if I fly at 8,000 feet, so this heavy flak can always damage the airplanes, and in this case, they make a direct hit and destroy our airplane. So, some luck was also with Dojo. And I would also not say that the Japanese have luck. The Japanese have skill. This is a big difference between if you hit once in 100 times or if you hit again and again and again. Luck will not help you to win the war. If you want to win the war, you need skills and a tactic. Okay. Okay, this is there's seagulls. They are scout planes, similar to the Japanese Jake. And I discussed this before. They can carry more heavy bombs, but fewer. But so far they was, I think, not able to score a hit. If I remember, they always attack, but so far no hit. But maybe another day, maybe. It's still hard for me to intercept them because there's no air base I can use nearby. This is now the opposite. Now Dojo's coming unescorted, medium bombers. We have here top elite Japanese Zero pilots, and we scoring here now, I think, one hit after the next. Or is it turning around? Okay. So Dojo was at the end lucky that the pilots immediately turn around. And I also don't know the rules for this. Because, I mean, normally the Zero is much faster than these medium bombers, but somehow they can escape. So, because if you are unescorted medium bombers, I would always, if there's any fighters, I would always say break the attack and return to base before I suffer high losses. Like in this case, Dojo lost one bomber, but he can save two others. Better than try to bomb this target and lose all three bombers. But why sometimes the bombers break and sometimes not? This is the more interesting and more dangerous battle because these are the B-26 Marauders. Even one of these bombers have so much payload can cripple at least a light cruiser, but even I think a heavy cruiser will be completely crippled if he get 3 or 4 of these bomb hits. And keep in mind that one bomber have 6 bombs. Of course, it's hard for one bomber to land with all 6 bombs a hit, but if this is an elite pilot and there will be no enemy fighter and you can blow and you can score out of 6 bombs 2 or 3 hits on a ship, that will be often a complete cripple hit or even sinks the ship immediately. In this case, we intercept one of the bombers and shut them down. This also means that the others have all now damage and they are not more in the best attack position. So, and there's then the game will give a penalty for this attack of this bomber force. And it was enough to simply, I mean, of course, in combination of weather and skills of the pilots and all of this stuff comes, and it's helped us to avoid a hit. Even if we cannot completely stop them, it's messed up the formation and it's let my ships survive another day. Maybe next day Dojo will score the hit. Sooner or later, of course, Dojo will score some hits, and it's a war. I also lost a lot of good ships at the first week of the war, but only this edition, the first I think the first week was really a little painful, and there was losses for the Japanese, but there's also no way around this. At the beginning, the Japanese player must risk a lot to have success. If you play it safe in the first weeks, you simply never will be fast enough to conquer all the bases before the allies can create a strong enough defense line. This is a big advantage of the Japanese, that most of the allies' bases are at the start of the war very weak, because there is no preparation from the allies to defend all of this stuff. This is why the Japanese have to rush. How much you want rush? That is always on a player's decision. So okay, some bombardment. Port Moresby. Not too successful, but at least a little damage. And maybe more the impact on the enemy morale and fatigue level, not really scoring direct hits. Here we score real hits, you can see. Many disabled and even some destroyed units. And this in this desert, mountain, rough terrain will normally hard to reactivate these units for Dojo, because I don't believe that there's much supplies they can gather. You can also see that Dojo moving here units around the street and between these bases. So I'm not sure what he is trying to create, but I don't like to attack the bases because they often to have the additional anti-aircraft equipment, and if a unit stays in the base, it's simply much harder to score hits. So if I see something is moving and what is not in the base, I always choose this target so much. And if I see nothing I can really hit, then I normally keep my bombers in training to save supplies. At this stage of the war, beginning of March, it's slowly show me that I'm running out of supplies, more or less. I cannot really go everything on 180% attack more. Well, even 100% is hard for me to maintenance now more. Sometimes I have to slow down, wait some turns to get supplies ready, rest units. Also the Air Force is day by day more hard to maintenance, because normally an air base needs over 20,000 supplies in stock to really maintenance everything perfectly and reinforce and so on. And this is not more the case in all of my bases, but it's still enough to support my armies. I don't want, I mean, the question is also where you want to keep your supplies, and I want normally keep my supplies with my Java invasion armies, with my Sumatra army, because this is really important for me. This fighting in China is nice and will give pressure on Dojo, but it will never really win the war. Only if you can take Changsha or Chengdu. This will be maybe a very cripple blow for the allied player, but this is hard to achieve. Okay, here we can see this is one of my medium class destroyers, and we are here in shallow water, so we can hope to score some hits. I mean, maybe one hit. So not really enough to really do something, and we're running out of ammunition. But looks like that our okay, this time not. So this was now cargo ship number 4 we attacked today, but in this case we fail, or the submarine commander. He only launched 2 torpedoes and he scored no hit, so yeah, can happen. Okay, the Dutch subs tried to intercept again. And of course, I mean, from Dojo's point of view, this is an invasion force. They are not supplies or oil or something on these cargo ships, they are normally really units. So, similar to what I did before with Dojo near Suva, sinking a troop transport ship with, I don't know, 5,000 guys, you will score a lot of points for this. Not only will you, I mean, if Dojo can now sink you 1 or 2 of my cargo ships with the army units on board, it will not only score a lot of points for him because he's destroyed my ship and my land units, but also these land units will be missing here and I will have a more hard time to conquer Java. So if I would be in Dojo's position, I also would try to intercept this shipping. It's only maybe too late already because this is so near to my harbor. Even if the ships get, I mean, if the ships get sunk immediately, okay, then they're dead. But if they get crippled, they often can at least arrive at the port and make an emergency unloading of the units. Even if the ships go down 2 or 3 turns later, you can save the army units. And the army units are normally the really critical stuff. So maybe it would be more wise if we try to concentrate the submarine force in this area, because you must pass here somewhere in this direction. But luckily, I would say Dojo tried to intercept here near to Java. This will means also that he have a very short range to his space. So it is always a balance act. If you want to send your submarines far out in deep water, they are more safe, but they need time to arrive at their patrol area. And yeah, here he have a very short range. He can go in 1 day more or less active, back to base, repair, refill, and back to base. Anyway, we score 4 additional hits. Maybe this will force the submarine to return to base. Maybe not. So a lot of submarine activity and a little air fighting, and now the ground combat. Oh, okay. So this is my second part of this Mongolian army. I split the Mongolian army in 2 pieces, and I think this is a smaller one, but I'm not sure. I think they are more or less nearly the same attack value, but this one have not the HQ. But it's enough. We can see that the Chinese units are already broken. So this is a clean-up operation, more or less. If Dojo don't have here additional forces coming in the north, I think I will take now all of this Mongolian province bases. It's only a question of time. You can see we get some disabled units, but Dojo's forces are really dying. And this is now official, I think, the last base of Borneo we take. Fine. But there was nothing, so it doesn't matter. You can also see that the standard Navy Guard units have an attack value of 62 is the maximum, I think. So we are, I'll say at 95% attack value still. And the Dojo's forces are very broken already, but Dojo have still the advantage of fort level and terrain. So even if the raw numbers looking in favor of the Japanese, I don't want attack here now. I wait 1-2 more turns, wait my reinforcements arrive, and then I make a swift, clean strike and get rid of this Australian guys. Goody. Okay. So still again, it was a, let's say this, I follow my planner, my strategy, and so far nothing really happens really give me a setback. A setback of 1 or 2 days because some, like in Singapore or in Batar, I don't know, I think Clarkfield. Yeah, of course, I don't take the base at the first day. In Singapore, I had to 3, 4 days fighting. And yes, Singapore burns down completely the base. It cost me a lot of supplies to recreate and rebuild everything. These are setbacks, but they are only temporary setbacks. This is not a completely strategic loss. So far, where I won't go, where I won't take something, where I won't break dojo, so far everything works fine, more or less. So far, Dojo was not able to really hold a base and make his point and hold. But we are still in the early days of March, so it's getting more and more tough. So May, June, I would expect that we arriving a point of equal power. It will be then only a question of in early June, where is the front line? If I am able to take up to June all of Burma, all of these islands here, and also take New Caledonian and Suva, then I am in a very good position. At the end, the goal for the Japanese player must be to have 4 times the points somewhere in 1942. This is the first big goal to ever achieve this, and the next big goal is try to hold on this up to the early days of 1943 to win the war. But this, I think, will be simply very hard. Maybe the Japanese player don't lose so many points, but the Americans, they get so much additional equipment, and with equipment you also get points, and that makes it simply very hard to really keep this advantage of 4-1 points. But we will see. If like this, one cargo ship after the next is gets evicted, gets destroyed. I think this time was no oil on, no cargo burning. Okay, no, fuel cargo is burning again. So this is also one of this fuel transport cargo ships Dojo use. And they're looking all a little bigger, so I think these are all 10-point ships or like this, 10-11-point ships. Hopefully, we will see at the end of the turn. So it was really a very, I would say this is now number 4. 4 cargo ships down. That is nice. And here is now a real tanker, even if it's not a big tanker. And we miss. Okay. Still, tankers have often much higher point value. How the game set up the points for ships is also sometimes for me a little strange, but okay. This is the game designer makes this decision. How many points a ship have value. Because like destroyers often have only 10 points. But there are many cargo ships, they have 10 points easily. And I would never say that a cargo ship have the same value like a destroyer. Especially these Japanese destroyers are often very big and they have a lot of equipment. And the cargo ship is normally simple. But yeah. Okay. Dutch mini submarine attack our good cargo ship, but fail. So this was Dojo's chance And the Dutch submarines are normally not bad for this, but these are the small submarines. I think they only carry the small torpedoes, so they will not create too much damage even if they hit. But a cargo ship often can handle maybe one torpedo hit, and then it has normally to arrive at port very quickly before the damage will build up. But of course, no hit is always the best for me. So again, but you can see it is really hard for the Japanese to, even this is shallow water, even if this is a professional sub-hunter unit, it will not automatically mean that you will always have the luxury to attack the submarine. And even if we attack the submarine, if my forces can find them, to score direct kills is so hard. I don't know even if we ever had this. I think only once maybe. Good. So this landing there in the Dutch islands is only picking up the bases. Make sure there is no scout planes, so that my shipping or my task forces can run undetected around. Because I normally really fear mostly only Dojo's B-26, B-26, B-25, these medium bombers. I think they are really the most dangerous weapon for the Japanese in this stage of the war. Okay, this is I think the same tanker, and this time, okay, the second attempt was successful. Now with daylight, it's more easy maybe to find the target. And we score at least 2 torpedo hits. And this is normally enough. Yeah. The tanker go down, and this is the next cargo ship, but again we miss. This looks like a big cargo ship. No. Pity. But anyway, this means now maybe up to 5 cargo ships go down this turn. And 5 cargo ships is even maybe for Dojo too much to replace in one day. But maybe Dojo can get 5 cargo ships in 2 days. So even if I think now 5 cargo ships in one turn, it will maybe even just be enough to match up with the reinforcements the Allies get. And this is only what the Japanese must keep in mind. Even if you have 1 or 2 good days, this means nothing in the long run for the Allies. Even if you sink in one day 10 cargo ships, if you cannot do this once per week, it doesn't matter. It's a question of time only that the Allies simply have new cargo ships, more cargo ships, and more and more and more and more. So that is why I think it's important for the Japanese to give always pressure early on, to never let the Allies get in a stable flow, that they always have to stop the shipping and must adjust something. Okay, this is our carriers. I think maybe one of the last support strikes, but I think not really a way to. This really not helps much. I really only do this mainly for morale purpose. Lower or try to keep a high fatigue of Dojo's units and keep their morale low like this. Let them not sleep restfully. And again, the zeros are here in a fighter bomber role. So you can see that the zeros, they transport 60 kilogram bombs. Of course, they don't have much really punching power, but at least I would say a 60 kilogram bomb can kill someone if it's land near to you. But the chance is simply very small. But no flak, so all of this is only take off landing damage, and simply I think only flying damage. Nothing really seriously. Okay. Here we can see we really can hit something with this kind of bombs. Hello. Always important, making a lot of pictures, getting always updated information. How strong is the unit, where they are going. And here's Dojo's seagulls again. Even if they are not successful, I mean, sooner or later they must score a hit, only by accident. Even if they don't have a skill, some pilot maybe make a mistake and hit something. Not that he. But I normally need to hear some fighters in Davao, but yeah, the Japanese, they really have some limited numbers, so I cannot have everywhere everything what I want. And I keep my fighters now. One of my Navy fighter groups is in Borneo to keep Dojo's Air Force in check. One other Navy fighter group is in Java, and that is much more important. And this part of the battle map is simply for me have so low priority that I simply let Dojo attack my cargo ships with the calculated risk that firstly, though, it's very unlikely that this kind of airplanes will hit my ships, and even if they hit, these are roughly 125 kilo bombs. They can damage cargo ships, but if you don't get 2 or 3 hits at once, it will not kill a cargo ship. It will damage a cargo ship, but it can normally not sink a cargo ship. Especially because these are all ships near our bases, so even if I get a hit, I say okay, dock and repair. So not too much activity. Yeah. So our scouts report the submarines. I think these are submarines maybe must return to base because the days before we had some successful strikes on them. And this was just an attempt again from the Catalina to hit our ship but failed. Last turn we also failed to take this Medan basis, and so I make a decision that I say, okay, I take some of my Navy bombers and use them now for this support attack runs, and I bring additional forces here, so maybe in some turns, maybe in 1 week latest, we can try to attack again the base. And these are Dutch forces, so and maybe also no fort level, and there also we score some hits here. So So the air war of the second day is now also over. Maybe one more sub attack. One more cargo ship. No. It's only one of Dojo's submarine tried to attack my units, but failed. But not that our destroyer was more successful. And now we do other submarines. So yeah, Dojo, I think he was always 2 or 3 submarines together. But submarines can never attack together. So it is always a submarine will always be an independent unit. You can only keep them together. Up to 4 submarines can be one sub hunt or sub fleet, but they really not operate as a fleet together. It's only more easy to, I mean, maybe handle this numbers of units. Of course, if you have one submarine fleet of 4 submarines together in one hex, the chance that a submarine can find a target is much higher. And it's also possible that up to all of these 4 submarines can attack the task force. I think just now we had 2 submarines had a battle with our destroyers. So it is simply, I will only say they will not support each other. But there's no difference if you have them one by one in a hex or if they have a group together. It's simply only if you have them in one group together, it's more easy to handle them. But of course, you have only a limited numbers of submarines, so it's always a question of how focused you want to keep your navy forces. You have less numbers of task forces, but each task force is stronger, or you try to cover more area. Yeah, okay. This is one of these big long-range Dutch submarines, but our patrol boat cannot find it. Or we cannot come to an attack position, let's say this. Again, but again fail. Yeah. But this detection and always force the submarine to dive, and this will simply not allow the submarine to attack. So Dojo submarines are often, let's say, then not able to attack the task forces because they always must worry to be attacked and always dive down and always must leave the attack position. Okay, this will be maybe now the last activity for today. Nothing happened here. Only standard Dojo's artillery attack. But at least this time with no real success. And this will mean the day is over. And we arrive at the 7th March 1942. Okay. So the intelligence report for the air war was nothing too special, I would say. These are scout planes, operational losses. These are also scout planes, operational losses. So we had 2 of our dive bombers, operational losses. This is this flag losses, yeah, which we had in China. Also long range recon, similar to I think Dojo's Catalina. This is simply we burn through this kind of airplanes. But we kill one. I thought we killed 2, but okay. Then we kill one of the B-26. This is always good. The Vincents go down, and this is one of the Dutch bombers also gets killed. Now yeah, so 4 to 8, but mostly 4 of my scout planes, and this one engine scout planes, they really have not much hit points, and the tendency to lose this kind of airplanes is simply high. I would more be worried about how many pilots I lose. And then you can see from all these operational losses, it's only airframes. Only one really pilot gets killed, and I think this is a flak killed pilot. So this is one army bomber pilot gets killed. Nothing really too important. Ship sunk last turn. For the Japanese, like nearly always nothing. Glory to the Emperor. And the Allies, they lost. Oh, okay. So you can see that this tanker, even it looks not so big, but from the point value is double than a cargo ship. It's a nearly 11,000 ton fuel capacity, so this is still a big tanker, I would say. It's not the biggest tanker, but this is already a big tanker, so not bad. With 14 of speed is standard. It's a Dutch tanker. Okay. Not bad. I think this will at least have some impact. And these are the 3 black cargo ships, you can see. And they have a power point of 15. This is also good cargo ships, I would say. Speed of 17, this is fast cargo ships. I think there's not much faster. I think the maximum speed is maybe 21 or 18 like this. And the best cargo ships, they have, I think, up to 20 points. So this is really already a really good cargo ship. And a cargo capacity of 7,500. Good. Get rid of them. Sink them all. All Dutch. The old Dutch one. No, this is a British one. But yeah, very similar layout. And this, I mean, we saw this go down for sure. This submarine stuff is, of course, always, I don't know, this is more fog of war. I hear no real sinking sound of any submarine, so not sure if they really go down. This is a 10-point submarine, and this is a more short-range submarine with 8. I mean, 10,000 endurance is already, and this is 11,000, not so much difference. And one destroyer, who knows? It's fog of war. That is, I mean, the tanker and the cargo ships, yeah, but this 3 is for me, maybe not. It doesn't matter so much. So you can see here around Yan'an, Dojo is running east and west, and I try to catch up here now. So we are on the way. Maybe next turn we can arrive here and then maybe force Dojo to a battle. But there are no roads, so it's not easy to enter. And after we enter and have here a battle, it will be we'll be lucky. I don't know which direction Dojo's forces will jump if we win the battle. But it doesn't matter what happens with Dojo forces. I also have to return to the road after this. Yeah. So this is the second part of the Mongolian army with the Mongolian headquarter here. They parking here and simply give a threat to Dojo that he know I'm stay here, so he must keep forces here. And if I force Dojo to keep his units here, he cannot help in the north. And with the second part, I try to conquer all the spaces and then return back and then help here in the source. You can also see that I start here to move my punching army, 7,000 and more attack value. I try to first take this base because this will more or less stop the road connection, that Dojo cannot bring more here stuff up. And then I will maybe use this force if I can to take these 3 bases fast and quickly and move them around before Dojo's heavy unit, because before Dojo tried to move west, now he make a decision to move northwest. But if you see that he moves northwest, means that he don't use the street, so he walk from a mountain hex to or to a rough terrain hex, to a rough terrain. And this is very slow. I need up to 10 days, maybe 12 days to walk this way. And in 12 days, I think I can move here up on the street and maybe even take a long lane show. And then we will make it. If then Dojo turn around again, then he. This is like the game. If you once turn around, you start again always from zero. This is a little game stuff. But it is like it is. So I make the decision that I more or less I bring my armies up. I want now try to take these 3 bases and I gamble more or less that Dojo cannot come out of this hex so fast and that I have enough time to take these 3 bases and be back with a new block force. Or if I can bring this army back, then maybe we can also fight. But I need something that is really powerful, because these are nearly 200,000 guys, so maybe 100,000 soldiers. But this unit also have 100,000, so this guy can maybe fight with Dojo. But if I use this army now directly to fight, this army will maybe give me some victory points, blah blah blah, but it will also maybe burn out my army. And in the long run, I don't must destroy this army, I must take the bases. I need the bases to reduce the industry capacity of the Chinese nation and army, because they all produce supplies, and supplies is what the Chinese never have enough. And on the other hand, if I take these bases and they are not destroyed, I can use this installation for my own army to supply and support any ongoing war. Okay, this is here. Center is not much happening because Dojo is not active, I am not active. Dojo won't hold these cities. I say, okay, keep him. I'm not really interested in this southern part. And here in the source, I'm moving my units around, so I try to create a new source Japanese army strong enough to fight in the here in the source B. I expect here also at least 100,000 Chinese army units, so maybe even more. So I need around also 3, 4, 5,000 attack value. And this needs time because we still have here some units that are operating behind the line and I must get rid of them. But you can see I pick up, so maybe this unit is a support division. So, this is not much from Dojo, only 2 units left, so maybe we can get rid of this unit, and then we have to this is 30,000, this is a little more powerful, so I need to get rid of this, both to have here my peace in the source. You can also see that we crossed the mountains, so we are now on the other side. And we already make 18 miles, so maybe next turn we arrive at the British base, and means next turn we can maybe start the battle. Here's only 2 units, so I don't expect it too much, so this will be easy. But what happens here? No, this is then up to Dojo, where he want to hold the line, where we challenge for the battle and make a decision who's the owner of our source of Burma. And yeah, here is not much happening. I move my units down. I take first this base. There's a Navy Guard unit, and then I will support here and then try again. At the same time, I can use my Navy bombers to reduce the attack value of the Dutch forces, and then maybe we are strong enough to take me down. Here you can see a lot of shipping, and there are still everywhere some submarines, but I try to hunt them down. And yeah, we're bringing backward and forward stuff, but I think we still lack some units, let's say. So there's still 1 unit in Singapore. So we need 1 more transport to get this last unit of the army to Osthaven. Then I can recreate the divisions and then I will start my move. I send only a forward regiment. It's not strong enough to attack a palm bank directly, but we can already go and pick up the first base. And simply only to walk here in once and don't must stop always and scout ahead. Yeah, we will see. And I think this is a big, you can see. This is the 14th army with all its might, more or less. Yeah. There's still a lot of stuff coming. I think, 14th army. So at least we start to move here direction Sorbaya. But we still also unloading a lot of stuff. So you can see that a lot of units are still on the transports and they are unloading. You can always dock them and it gets a little faster, but it will still need a little more time, but maybe it's enough to take Surabaya. Yeah, Surabaya is like my second Singapore. The second Battle of Singapore was a little unlucky that it burns down. I hope Surabaya will not burn down, because at that days in Singapore I had still enough supplies to rebuild everything, but now I'm running a little low on supplies. You can see that we have here only 12,000 supplies, so it's not really so much. This hex also have only barely enough supplies. I mean, we're unloading the supplies, but Tarakan have we can maybe take here 15,000 supplies from Tarakan, and also the same amount from Balikpapan. So I can take here 30,000 supplies out and bring to Java to support here this activity, but there's not much more left for me, because in the Philippines, Manila have this Manila supplies I normally won't bring to Singapore. Singapore consume much more supplies for all this navy activity. And you can see Saigon is already empty, 10,000. Bangkok is 10,000. Hong Kong is roughly at 13,000, and Canton is also only at 10,000. So this is normally 2 less already, but there's simply never enough supplies for the Japanese. And here, so this is Navy Guard units, and here's also Navy Guard units. They are all together. I will merge these 2 task forces, and then next turn I will land them. So next turn land, and next turn then we can attack Port Moresby, and maybe with a little luck can take the base immediately. Maybe must fight 1, 2, 3 turns. Good. And I think it's now also enough then time for the carriers, that the carriers can then maybe return to Rabul, refill, rearm, and then we can maybe create in 2 or 3 turns, we can make the next carrier strike in direction of Suva, like last time. With a little luck, we can intercept 1 or 2 bigger task forces and mess up with Dojo's supply line. Good, I think more. No. At 15th March, mid of March, I will make again the next longer episode about more background information. But I think twice per month is enough. Because if I talk every day about tracker and other stuff, it's then also not more so interesting. Goody goody. Thank you all. See you again. Take care. Bye bye.